Today, we're going to live a little and make some spare ribs. I'm cutting the spare ribs apart in between the different bones in each of the racks. I'm going to put them on a pan. You want to make sure that you have salt and pepper, and you want to liberally put those on to each section of the spare ribs. Making sure to flip over each section and do the same on either side. Doesn't matter what kind of salt and pepper you like, or either any other kind of seasonings that you would like to add to this. Once you've got that done, you're going to put them in a pan and you're going to sear them for about 60 seconds on each side. Place them flat in your pan, move them around, make sure every side gets a nice searing, as we will be putting these in a crock pot. You can use tongs to turn them over and make sure that you get that nice crispy crunch on the outside of each one. You want to make sure you use high heat, as this is like a searing process and it seals all the juices inside the spare ribs. Give the pan a good shake and then transport them over into your crock pot. These will shrink up in your crock pot, so if they don't all fit flat in the bottom, it's okay. They eventually will cook down a little bit. Next, we're going to slice up some onion. We're just going to do a rough chop. It doesn't matter. The pieces can be rather large, just a rustic chop to give the sauce that we're going to be creating a little seasoning and taste. Peel off any of the skins that you don't want into your pan with the onions. Give those a cross chop, just rough, real easy. Put those in the pan. And then the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to get about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic. Use a butcher knife, a nice big cutting knife, and you're just going to smash them, and then that makes the skins easy to peel right off. Once you have all the skins peeled off, you're left with nice garlic cloves, and I like to use the biggest ones that I have on hand. And you're going to take your knife and you're going to roughly chop those as well. They don't have to be super tiny pieces. Just run your knife through the pile of garlic that you have. I like to use 5 or 6 cloves, but the amount you use is up to you and your tastes. Once we get those all cut up, then we can put those in the pan with our onion. And now we're going to turn on our stove, medium to high heat. We're going to grab our pan, place it on the stove. We're going to add some olive oil to our pan, and we're going to give those a saute, just until they soften up. There you can see everything is coming together well, and oops, I dropped one out of the pan. Put that one back in and keep stirring and checking on it. Now we're going to add a little bit of red wine to our sauce. This is going to be cooking with our spare ribs, and it's going to give it a nice flavor. You want to bring this up to a simmering boil, just to boil off that alcohol and get all the flavors together so that they marry together. And all of this takes just a few minutes to do, but it's an important step because this really brings out the flavor of the spare ribs. And now I'm going to add some beef broth. This is some homemade beef broth or stock that I made. It's been in the freezer, so you can see I have a great big ball there. The white part of the broth is fat. That gives the sauce and our spare ribs a lot of flavor. And I add a little salt and a little pepper And you want to give this a good stir, and you want to bring this up to a simmering boil. And once it reaches that temperature, then we're going to be transferring it over to our crock pot. And here we are pouring in our steaming broth over our spare ribs. And you want to get all that good flavor in there. And in our crock pot, we're going to be make sure that those get all covered, and then we will. Now we're going to put everything in the crock pot for about 6 hours on low setting. We're going to leave it in there and just leave it alone and let it cook. And when it is all done, you will have a lovely meal for your family. Enjoy.